guys, it's Elizabeth from Elizabeth Books. I'm here today to do my August wrap-up. These are the rest of the books I read this August, and I'll link below my mid-August wrap-up if you guys haven't seen that. So first, the second half of August, I read Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone, and my friend Ashley from Two Leaves and Bookbindings is borrowing that right now, so I can't show you it. But I really enjoyed it. It is about a girl who has OCD, and she's just in a group of friends who are very mean girls, and she's just knows she shouldn't be friends with them, but she's just so popular and she's stuck in that group. And so she finds a new friend on the first day of school who shows her a poetry club, and she gets really into it, and it just helps her with her OCD and helps her be a better person and get away from those mean group of girls. And I really enjoyed it. It has a big twist in it that I didn't see coming at all, and I could see how people might think it's silly and stuff, but I really liked how it went, and it sucked me in the whole time. I was super captivated, so I really do recommend it. It was one of my favorite books I've read this year. Then I read The Lightning Thief graphic novel by Rick Riordan. Well, you know, adopted by people. They're all right there. I don't feel like saying it. I'm sorry. It wasn't very good. The art was really bad. If you hadn't have read Percy Jackson, it wouldn't have made sense. So just read Percy Jackson. And I don't know. I just didn't like it. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good. And Amulet, number 6, Escape from Lucian? I have no idea how to say anything. I just make everything up in my head. By Kazu Kabashi, something like that. And this graphic novel was super good because I love the series so far, so I'm really enjoying this graphic novel, and I really like the artwork, and I just love the storyline. I love all the characters, and this was a great addition to the story. Next I read Alina Vanishing by Alina and Clara B. Dunkel, and this is a true story memoir, and so my challenge for August was to read a book that isn't a novel, and I've read a few graphic novels, counting this one for that because it is a memoir non-fiction book instead of a fictional, instead of a graphic novel, so it counts, right? It counts as a non-novel book. Yeah. And it's about a girl named Alina who has anorexia, and it's anorexia nervosa or something like that. So it's anorexic, but she also if she eats, she vomits, and she just is very concerned about her weight. She also believes she isn't skinny enough, that doctors don't believe her that she is anorexic. So she thinks she is, but then she doesn't think she doesn't think people see her as skinny as she is, and so she doesn't think people want to help her. And so it's very heartbreaking, very sad that people think they're not skinny enough for help, and I don't know, they're not sick enough even though they are, and I don't know, it was very sad. I cried at the end a bit because you just care so much that I just felt so sad that people are sick and they don't realize they are, and it's just really sad. And so yeah, it was a very sad memoir, but the ending's pretty good, it gets better, so that's that. Then on my Kindle I read Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella, and I love Sophie Kinsella. They're always super funny, and this one was no exception. This is one of her first young adult books, and it's about a girl named Audrey who was bullied so much that she now has anxiety and anxiety attacks. She doesn't want to leave her house. She can't look people in the eye, and so she stays at home. And it's not just about her though, it's just about her family and her brother. Her brother is very into this game that's kind of RuneScape, online, World of Warcraft type game, and he's very into it. And a boy that's on his team comes over, and Audrey gets to know him, and sees that she can talk to people, and she doesn't have to be alone. People care about her, and it was just a super funny read. Her parents were so funny. I was laughing uncontrollably when I was reading this. I couldn't stop laughing, and the brother was so funny. He reminded me a lot of my brother, because my brother growing up played a lot of games on the computer and such, and so their relationship made me think of me and my brother's relationship, and I just thought it was super funny. My only downfall was that Audrey was supposed to be like 14 in the book, and I did not read her that young. To me, she felt like she was like 16, 17, and the love was kind of like insta-lovey, but I understand because she did have anxiety and she was alone, and so the boy she met was like the first boy she talked to, so of course she's gonna have like feelings if someone's nice to you and stuff. So it wasn't really insta-love, but like it was at the same time, but I'm kind of gonna forgive it because I loved the book so much. Then I read In Real Life, My Journey to a Pixelated World by Joey Graceffa. I watched him on YouTube. Oh, and I'm also gonna count this as a book that isn't a novel that I read because it's pretty much a like memoir too. But it's just about his life and how he became a YouTube star and like afterwards his success and all. And I mean, you pretty much knew everything if you watch him religiously, which you know I have for a long time. So this, I didn't really need to buy this and read it, but like I still love Joey, and so I really did enjoy reading it and seeing more about him, even though I pretty much knew it all, but you know, it was still a good read. Then I read A Year of Mistaken Discoveries by Eileen Cook, and I let Ashley have that book because it wasn't my favorite. It is about a girl who is adopted, and her friend who was also adopted growing up commits suicide, but so she overdoses, and you're not really sure if she did it on purpose or not, but she was trying to find her birth mother, so the main character decides for her senior project to find her birth mother to kind of tribute to her friend who committed suicide, to get into college in a way, like, you know, so she tried to make it like, oh, this is my project to get into college, and like throughout the book it turned into more than that. Like, it's not just to get into college and all that and the boys she meets, but I just didn't really like it. Like, it was just an okay book for me. I gave it like 3 stars, but I would recommend it. It was a good read, but it wasn't a favorite. Then I read Wuthering Heights by Louise Renneson, which is the author of like the Georgia Nicholson book series, and this is supposed to be a spin-off of Georgia's cousin Tallulah Cassie, and it was horrible. Like, there's 3 books in this series, and like 10 pages into this I was like, I'm going to hate this book, why am I reading it? But I forced myself to read it, and I am not gonna read the rest of them because it was so bad. It's just about this girl who's Georgia's cousin, and she's like in a, you know, a drama camp basically, and it was just so boring, and like nothing happened, and just how they talked, it's like, it's in British like slang, and it was just kind of confusing, and just, it was just boring, and I just hated it a lot. And I was like, how, I'm so proud of Ashley because she read the second one and the third one, and like I read this first one and I'm like, how did you make it through another one? Because this was so terrible. I can't make myself read another one. Next I read The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins, and I really enjoyed this one. It is a murder mystery type book. It is about a woman named Rachel who every day she takes the 8:04 train in the morning and then takes like the 5 o'clock train back, something like that. 5:56 train back. And like from London to wherever she lives. And every day on the train she sees this couple like in a house, and she like makes up their relationship, calls them like Jason and Jess, and just makes up this great relationship they have and all this. But one day Rachel sees Jess with another man who wasn't Jason, so she's like, oh, what's going on? And then Jess goes missing. So Rachel kind of feels like she is involved in this mystery. She knows there is another man involved. She thinks like maybe that's why Jess is missing. And it goes on to other chapters that you learn her name is not Jess. It's in her point of view, the woman who she calls Jess. And then it is in Rachel's ex-husband's wife's point of view. And it's just a big mystery. In my opinion, it was really good. People say like, oh, it's compared to Gone Girl and it's not as good. And I felt like it was just as good as Gone Girl. I mean, yes, Gone Girl I think it's a little more twisted and scary, but this version was still really good, and I was like captivated, and it interested me the whole time, and I really loved all the main characters. They were all very like unreliable and like horrible people, but you like loved them all at the same time. I don't know, I loved Rachel even though she like was not a reliable character, but you just cared about her, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it and I would totally read it again. Then I read The Coincidence of Coconut Cake by Amy E. Reichardt, and this book was terrible. It is about a woman is about to get married, but she walks in on her husband cheating on her, and so when she goes to work, she is a chef at a restaurant, and so she's having a horrible day, and coincidentally that day is the day a food critic writes a review on her restaurant. She is cooking horrible food though because she's in a terrible mood, so her review is really bad. And coincidentally, they meet each other, they don't know who each other are, and they start dating, and so, you know, it all unravels from there. It was just very cliche. The whole back of the book was literally, like, most of the book, probably like, you know, a third of it wasn't described on the back, and then from that, you got what was gonna happen. Like, you know they're gonna fall in love. I'm sorry, like, it's, you know, that's what's gonna happen. And it was just, nobody told the truth, and it was just very awkward. Like, why wouldn't you tell the truth? Like, she is a chef and he is a food critic, but instead of like telling each other like, oh yeah, I'm a chef, I work for this restaurant, she's just like, oh yeah, I know food, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm a writer. Like, don't you think you would be honest and tell each other what you actually do and stuff? So like 2/3 into a book, you wouldn't finally realize you were the person who wrote the review about the restaurant, you know. And it was just very bad. Just the word, there's some phrases in here, just really weird, and just, yeah, no honesty, and I just wouldn't recommend it. I bought it because the cover was cute and I need to stop. No more buying books, me. No. Then on my Kindle I read Captive Prince by C.S. Pacat. This was an adult novel about a kingdom that a prince gets captive by another prince's kingdom, and he becomes his slave. That is kind of his, you know, pleasure slave, pretty much. And that's how this kingdom kind of works. But so it is kind of like a romance novel, if you call it that. There is a lot of graphic rape and bad things in this, but overall the story was like kind of good, and you liked the characters, even though like the main prince, like Lawrence, I don't know, he was pretty bad, and then the captive prince Damien, I think it was Damien, you liked him too, in my opinion, and I don't know, I'm just really excited to read the second one, even though they're terrible and I shouldn't want to, but I'm just very interested in how the story is going to go, and it wasn't my favorite story or anything. I didn't think, it got kind of boring for me, kind of some of the political stuff, so I gave it like a 4 out of 5, but I'm still interested in seeing what happens next. And then I read Imaginary Girls by Nova Ren Soma, and Ashley read this and she like absolutely hated it, so I was like, well, I still want to read it, only because like the cover was pretty, so I borrowed it from her. A girl who lives with her older sister, and she just kind of does everything her older sister tells her to do. Her sister's like, oh, do this, so Chloe will do it just because Ruby says she can. And so one day Ruby tells everybody at this party that Chloe can totally swim across like this whole ravine and like shake her hand, like swim back and stuff. And on her attempt to do so, she almost drowns, and it's just kind of a like magical realism story that you don't really know what's going on the whole time. Like, is she alive? Is she dead? Are other people in the town alive or dead? Like, what's going on? It was very, like, I found it really good and, like, very captivating, and I just kept reading it, and then Ashley was like, why? Why did you like it? And I don't know. I just really liked it. It was just really enjoyable, and I just really liked the characters and the story, and I don't know, I would totally recommend it. It was pretty much Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver, so I can't really decide which one I liked better because they were pretty similar to me, but overall, I liked them both a lot. Finally, this month I read Monstrous Beauty by Elizabeth Fama, and I'm borrowing this from Ashley, and this is a mermaid book. It is about a mermaid from like the 1800s who falls in love with a human named Ezra, and some chapters are the future about a girl named Hester and her family, and Hester's family, all the women who have given birth have all died, and so Hester is like doesn't believe in love and is scared to fall in love because she's scared to like have a baby and die, and so it's just her researching her family's past with flashbacks to this mermaid and her lover like Ezra, and it's just kind of like how they both connect. And then So I really enjoyed it until like almost the end, and then there's this part about mermaids I didn't really like. It's probably the best mermaid book I've actually read because, okay, I've only read this one, and I can't remember the other one I read, but I'll insert it here. But that one was really bad, so this one was the best mermaid book I've read so far. And so yeah, if you guys know any other mermaid books, you should let me know that are actually good, because this one was pretty darn good. I really liked it. So yeah guys, those were the books I read the rest of August. What are some books you've read this August? Let me know below, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys!